All right, we're back. Appreciate everybody for being here today. God bless you all. Please give it a thumbs up on your way in. Just as a heads up, you might hear some thunder. I just heard a loud boom of thunder over here. We got some thunderstorms coming in, but just want to let you guys know that. Other than that, I hope everybody's having a great start to their 2022 so far. I know I've been basically MIA for the past couple weeks, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Nothing to panic over, just sometimes life happens. But nonetheless, everybody, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. One of the reasons that my faith has grown so strong is because I feel like God is always keeping me a step ahead of the chaos. For example, moving out of Minneapolis before it became a war zone. And most recently, with last week being the first anniversary of January 6th, there was an event held over in Pinellas County, a place that I used to live, and a pipe bomber showed up to essentially try to kill, mass murder patriots in Florida. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen over here so you guys can see what's going on. Antifa member targeted Florida rally with a bomb. More explosives were found at his house. So a man in full black bloc behaving suspiciously near a right-wing rally outside of the Pinellas County Courthouse in Florida on January 6th was apprehended by deputies after trying to flee on foot. Garrett James Smith, 22, was arrested and found carrying an active pipe bomb, Antifa propaganda, and a written document on what to bring for his direct action. He had recently returned from Portland, Oregon. What a shocker. Returned from Portland, Oregon. Now, I know there's been a lot of talk about people thinking that it's a Fed operation. The Feds are subverting patriot movements, which we know is true, and that this could potentially be something similar. And I got to disagree with that. There would be no reason for the Feds to subvert a movement that is against American patriots. And the reason why is because that movement already exists and it's abundant, right? For example, if you think about Portland, Oregon, how many people could you just walk through the streets of Portland, Oregon and find that are affiliated with Antifa or left-wing organizations that seek to destroy the country, bring down the foundational principles, et cetera, et cetera. So there would be no reason to subvert that and try to incite them to violence when you see it happening all the time in places like Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, cities on the West Coast, essentially. Good Lord, I hope my internet doesn't go out. This is a pretty big storm moving through. But anyway, so this Antifa member, which it's hard to know if he's actually an Antifa member, he's got the propaganda and everything else, showed up to a rally where patriots, Americans were standing outside of a building and they were rallying in protest of people that were locked up, a person that's locked up from January 6th last year, 2020 or 2021, January 6th. So anyway, let's play this little news clip, and this is going to explain to you everything that went on.
We're going to start with some breaking news. Tonight, a Pinellas County man is under arrest, accused of bringing a pipe bomb to a political rally on the one-year anniversary of the January 6th Capitol riot.
8 on your side's Justin Shecker is live outside the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. What can you tell us about the suspect, Justin?
Keith and Stacy, good evening to you both. The sheriff called the suspect, 22-year-old Garrett James Smith, quote, a sleeper with no known social media or criminal history. Tonight, the FBI is involved in this investigation, trying to figure out why this man brought that pipe bomb to yesterday's political rally.
We don't want the FBI. We don't want the Capitol Police. We don't want federal tyrants moving into the state of Florida.
Toward the end of Thursday's rally, demanding the release of a Tampa man facing charges connected to the January 6th Capitol riot, Pinellas County Sheriff Bob Gualtieri says deputies spotted a man running away across the street.
And he was dressed in all black. He had a black covering over his face, and he was carrying a black backpack.
When deputies arrested 22-year-old Garrett James Smith for loitering and prowling, the sheriff says they searched his bag and found a pipe-type explosive device.
Something caused him not to actually detonate it. Now, how he was going to do it, I have no idea. Was he going to throw it into the crowd? Was he going to place it someplace? What his plan was, I really don't know.
Deputies say Smith also had this document titled Direct Action Checklist, divided into 3 categories: clothing, armor, and gear. During a search of his family's Oldsmar home, deputies say they discovered additional hand grenade type explosives.
Smith refused to give any information. He refused to talk to deputies. So we really have no idea as to what his political leanings are and whether he supported or opposed the protesters at the jail.
How is that possible? How is it possible that he doesn't know and he can't make a safe assumption or an educated guess as to what this man's political leanings were? That blows my mind. I think he was just trying to play it safe, but we all know it's pretty obvious. Now, the reason why I brought up that I've been fortunate enough to stay a step ahead of the drama and the chaos is because I could have easily been at this event, whether by myself covering it on my channel or with Right Side. As you guys know, I was down in West Palm covering a similar event at a street corner where Trump normally rides by. And you never know what could happen at some of these events. It's getting crazier by the day. And unfortunately, I feel like we're going to see this as a more common thing going forward because our country is so divided, It's just, it makes me sick, honestly. And that kind of leads me to why, I had to take a step back. I just really did, because so much of what I cover on this channel, so much of what's going on, so much what circulates in the news is just toxic and polarizing. And it will bring you down, especially if you don't find the time, carve out the time in your personal life to just unplug and go stand in nature, go to the ocean, rejuvenate yourself, take care of yourself. Ultimately, that's what I had to do. With the symbolic change of a new calendar year also comes tangible, actual changes in my life. And I have new perspective and a bunch of different things that I'm looking at differently now. And it just feels like right now our country's so divided, and it's also extremely dangerous. As you can tell, I don't know why he didn't go through with this terrorist attack. That's what it would have been, but I'm thankful that it didn't happen. I know tons and tons of people all across the state. I could have easily known friends that were at this event. I'm surprised it's not getting more coverage. I think we probably know, because it doesn't fit a particular narrative that it's, the Trump supporters and the people who support anybody that was involved in January 6th, not people that actually went inside or anything else, but anybody who may sympathize with the people who are actually peaceful on January 6th, or people who are locked up against their, whatever. They would think that those people are the ones that have the natural proclivity to be violent, and they're plotting the next insurrection. The media has fear-mongered about this. I wanted to speak more about it last week, that I knew it would be exactly what it was. They would take that day to say, democracy is at stake. It's dangerous. They're attacking us. Is the worst thing since Pearl Harbor, 9/11. Look, it's those people over there, the Trumpers, the right wingers. They're the ones that are plotting to take down America. And, as somebody who's covered this movement for 2 years, I can say that is completely false. In fact, the opposite actually ends up being true. I mean, it's not to say that there aren't people on this side who are violent or try to incite violence, because it's true. But the majority of political violence in this country comes from people who have the left-wing ideology. It's just the truth. And especially people who are on the fringes in the more Antifa types. I mean, if you think about the whole Antifa, their whole movement, the way that the media at least portrays them is they're anti-government. Well, if they were truly anti-government, wouldn't they be standing alongside some of their fellow people who would be labeled as anti-government? And that's just my whole point, is we are so divided. And this is exactly what they want. They want people divided like this and radicalized. And you'll have instances where this could be a potential sleeper cell. I mean, they said he didn't have any social media to speak of, and yet he showed up. So what would stop this from happening again? What would stop somebody from coming down from Oregon, way across the country, setting up pipe bombs and trying to do harm to people who they don't like because they've been told not to like them, or they've been radicalized to hate the other side? And it's hard to continue the left-right finger pointing. This is exactly what they want. I mean, I feel like, honestly, if we're being honest here, both sides of politics do this. They play this game. It's all just a circus, you guys. It's just, I can't say it enough. It's a circus. Both sides are playing us. They're playing us. Right? Every time you see people like, look, AOC totally caught COVID in Florida. Look how stupid and silly they are. It just keeps people on one side and other people on another side. Just continuing the political polarization, tribal mindset, while we're all getting screwed over. I mean, I mentioned this at the flag wave last week as somebody was driving by in their Jeep and they had their Biden-Harris thing and they were saying like, get over it, you lost, it's over, Trump lost, you lost. It's like, we all lost. Did we not all lose? We're all paying significantly higher prices for homes, for goods in stores, for gas, you name it. Cost to heat your home, everybody's losing. But if they keep us looking at each other, fighting, engaging in this circus, like, look, Republicans are going to grill Fauci again. I guess I've just reached this point, you guys, where I feel like I want results. And I know I can't be the only one out there that's just tired of it. Like, it at one point it was fun. Like, oh yeah, look, Biden, look at all these Democrats are so dumb. Look, but now it's like, I want to see results. Are people going to be held accountable for their actions? Are people actually going to be locked up? Who's actually fighting for this country? Who is actually fighting for us? Right? I feel like everybody, because politicians are people and people have a natural proclivity to put their own interests first. This is why I believe in limited government, for that very reason, because a politician, whether they have a little power or a lot of power, is going to put their own interests first. So they might as well have a little power. It's really simple. They should have a little bit of power. And when you think about people who have pretended to be America first or freedom first, they're actually not. They're in it for themselves. They're in it to try to campaign and generate headlines for themselves. Example, somebody like Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, who said that January 6th was a terrorist attack. You know, parroting the same talking points coming from left-wing media. Right? It's like, who do you trust anymore? Who are these politicians? Can you honestly say, I trust that person? Right? For example, Ron DeSantis. I trust Ron DeSantis is the best man for the job. But if he decided to change on a dime and he tried to implement policy or an executive order that I don't support, then I would be off the bandwagon. I would not support him anymore. Right? And then also a lot of what we're talking about here, a lot of what I cover on this channel is something that happens at a national level. You know, politics is extremely local. Who you vote for and your mayor, your city council, your congressman, your state reps, your governor, that's going to have a bigger impact on your life than Joe Biden, than Kamala Harris, than Nancy Pelosi. That's the reality of it, right? Politics is local. And I think that should be the primary focus this year, is what's happening locally instead of nationally, because nationally, I feel like it's just a circus. It really is, you guys. And so just to tie it all back to this pipe bomb thing, I think that, you know, people on the opposite side will never really necessarily see a story like this, because the mainstream narrative is that it's the Trump supporters you got to worry about. You got to look out for them. But in reality, this guy was probably not a Trump supporter. If I had to venture out and guess, this is not somebody that was a Trump supporter. Clearly, he was there with a pipe bomb. He had some Antifa propaganda with him. And of course, living at home with mom and dad. I mean, does that not tell you everything you need to know? But it's like, we cannot continue to be so divided over this stuff, because people get radicalized like this and they'll go out and try to commit acts of terror, acts of evil. We've seen it. We've seen how damaging headlines are, narratives are. We've seen how they try to continue this division. Both sides want to do it. Some of the topics that I've covered over the past year have been what? Rage bait. Don't get me wrong. Some of the topics are extremely important to cover, like the indoctrination of kids, those kinds of things, versus just look at this hypocrisy from this person. look at left wingers acting crazy. It's like, no, if they're trying to indoctrinate kids, if they're trying to pollute the minds of the youth, if they're trying to destroy the culture, that's something I feel like is worth covering more so than just the daily political theater, because that is exactly what it is. Both sides are playing the American people, playing us off against each other, because if we're fighting over stupid things, we will not only be radicalized to the point of let's bomb the other side because they're so dangerous, or let's attack them, let's not give them jobs, let's marginalize them, instead of, looking at who is actually controlling the country, who's driving this country into the ground, and who's pretending to help. Who's pretending to help? I think that's almost a bigger deal than the people who are actually, out there, like, their views, what they're trying to do. They're very blatant with it. It's the people that are, sheep in wolves' clothing. I think we can gain some significant ground in 2022 if we're focused more on removing some of these rhino Republicans, the do-nothings, the people that they're just there. They're there to campaign. They're there because they want to get your money by telling you that they're going to fight for you. I mean, you saw Project Veritas expose that guy out in Arizona. I forget his name right now. It slips my mind. I think it's Alex something. But he talked bad off camera about Trump supporters and how he doesn't really support people. He's just in it for the money. How many politicians do you think have that same mindset? They're holding these events and telling you how they're going to fight the Democrats, but when it comes down to it, they're not. They're in it for themselves. In case in point, and I'm going to get to the super chat really quick. Actually, I had a one come in a few seconds ago. I'm going to get to that one first. Mark Hill says there hasn't been a recombination event creating a new variant called the Deltacron. Don't believe the new fear propaganda. I have not, honestly. I'm so over talking about COVID right now. I need a significant break from that. And who doesn't? Like, who wants to hear me talk about it? Like, I've covered everything as it relates to it, right? Like, oh, look what's happened over in Germany. Look, they're locking people up. They're locking people up in Australia. It can happen here. Yeah, that's true. How many times do I need to say it? It could absolutely happen here. Charles says, 2 days ago, I attended an anti-mandate freedom rally and gathering in Seattle. This event was about freedom and liberties. Those of us there were encouraging people to not be demoralized and not give up. See, I love that. That's commendable. Going to something where, people can actually rally behind. People can put their political differences aside and just decide that they want freedom instead of being divided over red, blue. I think that's commendable, Charles. I love that you did that. Love that you did that. But, I could have easily been at this thing, you guys. I could have been at that thing and nothing happened, thank God. But who's to say it won't happen next time? Who's to say that's it? Especially when you're talking about Florida, where you have probably the strongest movement of patriotism, a lot of energy down here. And clearly they see that as a threat. So don't be surprised if there's more events just like this. Now, I want to get to this really quick because you guys know I was at the event in West Palm last Thursday, and a podcaster, he calls himself a progressive podcaster, David Pacman, decided to use his platform he's got 1.4 million subscribers on YouTube. He's got a big following. He decided to use his platform to broadcast the RSBN event and just get his commentary, which is fine. But this particular clip that I'm about to play for you is what he decided to pull out and use to spread fake information and, polarize the country. And he titled it, "This thing was completely toxic." But what he did was take a little clip of me talking to a woman of Asian descent, and he projected his own bigotry into the situation.
They're live right now.
We're live right now, yes. Where are you from?
We're from New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what brings you down here to this street?
Lady, he meant, where are you really from?
So you hear that right there? Completely dishonest. Trying to paint me out to be some racist bigot. Like, let me go talk to this Asian woman and see where she's really from. This is Florida. Everybody's from somewhere else. You guys have seen me at these events. Don't I literally ask everybody where they're from? I always ask everybody where they're from, and I primarily do that to say, like, whoa, why'd you come to Florida? Florida's a great state. Not, hey, are you an American citizen or not? Where are you really from, Asian lady? Tell me where you're really from. See what he's doing? Projecting his own bigotry. And if he would have played the full clip, his viewers would have known that I was asking everybody that, and that our conversation had to do with the politics of Florida versus New Jersey, not, hey, Asian person from another country, right? This is so dishonest, and this just feeds more of the left-right polarization. If he can take this little clip and push it out to his followers and make it seem as though I'm out here targeting people based on their race to ask them where they're really from, when in reality it's his bigotry. This is him singling out a minority lady, a 10-second clip to say, look at these right wingers, look at these so-called these Trumpers. I mean, if you look at his YouTube channel, it's all about Trumpism and lunatics and crazy stuff, right? And then he posts this clip and calling it completely toxic, but he doesn't think that what he's doing is toxic. Purposely clipping a little video out of context to make it appear as though I'm asking someone a question based on their race, not just wondering, hey, where are you from? Where are you from? And then I'm asking her that question because she's Asian. I ask every single person that, where they're from, whether they're from the local area, across the state, across the country, or across the world. Yes, I would want to know if she's from somewhere else in the world. Cool, yeah. But this is where we are in the country, you guys. Then honestly, these are the two topics I had to cover today. I have not really watched the news much. Like I said, I completely unplugged, like turned off notifications because my phone was completely just bombarded. Right? When you cover these kind of topics or you do these live streams, you want to know what's going on at all times. And I had to pull away because a lot of the topics are negative, and I think it's just rage bait to get us fighting with each other. And so I haven't covered anything else. I don't know what else is going on. I'm going to pull up the chat here because it's been a while since I've been live, and I want to answer people's questions if they have any. I don't know why the chat isn't loading right now. This is weird. Did the chat go away or something? I seem to have lost the chat. I don't know why. It's frozen, essentially. So I can bring it up over here on this screen. Just give me a second here, guys. But I do appreciate everybody for being here today. You guys are great. Someone said Trump rally in Arizona this Saturday. Yes, there is a Trump rally going on. Here's my thing, you guys. I like Trump. He was the best president that I've seen in my lifetime. It was in my best interest for him to get reelected, especially because of the nature of the work that I do, right? Him holding all those rallies. But I don't want to lose sight of the fact that what he is doing is campaigning for other people. So those people, I feel, should get more attention, more views, right? Everyone is just like Trump, but it's like, what about the people he's campaigning for? A lot of people think that he's going to save the country, and I think we saw over the past year that's not necessarily true. And he's not the only person who may have America's best interests at heart. Like, I'll bring it back to Ron DeSantis and how politics is local. I think it's a bigger deal to make sure that Ron DeSantis is reelected as governor of Florida. And so, yes, everyone is still fixated on Trump. But again, politics is local. What's going on in your state, in your county, in your region of the country? That's going to have a much bigger impact on your life than who's president. Are your prosecutors actually prosecuting crime, or are they giving criminals a slap on the wrist and then they're back out in your neighborhood terrorizing it? Because that's a pretty local issue. It might have national implications. It might get national news coverage. but it's local. It's something that you have a bigger control over, a bigger power to influence. I think that's one of my biggest takeaways from the past years. A lot of the things I talk about don't even affect my life. They don't. Vicky says hugs. Illinois. Oh, I lost that one. People love to be told what to do is in observed past 28 years in America. I'm not sure I understand the syntax of that one. The people in the particular state are the ones who are listening to Trump to see who to vote for. That's true. That's true. But those people also need to be given a platform to speak. You know, while Trump has the attention of those candidates, bring them up on stage. I just think that in general, people should know who the people are, right? Know what the rally, like who's the rally for. It's easy to be like Trump rally, but Trump's rally for what? For who? That's what I'm getting to. As oftentimes people don't even know. JRL said, this is going to be God's year. I can feel it. Every year is God's year. Every year is God's year. Whether it's for him to reveal something to you or to take down some evil, every year. I mean, what else is going on in the news recently? RIP to Bob Saget. That happened over here in Central Florida. Details are still coming out. I'm not really interested in, did he take the booster or not? I saw the video, of course, of him saying he did get it. I'm not trying to like go there. Like that stuff gets really tiring. It's not, I feel like people want to just look for something to fit a particular narrative. And I've been guilty of it too. I got sucked into it. That's what's so dangerous about this, like toxicity of just left, right, this, that. People were trying to say, how did Betty White really die? I mean, it couldn't be that she was 99 years old. It had to be something else. I mean, I just think, man, don't get me wrong. I mean, the death of Bob Saget is very bizarre, given that he just had a show in Jacksonville and he seemed healthy. I mean, there was nothing wrong with him. I guess he didn't talk about being sick or anything. I mean, whenever you're talking about a celebrity death, you can't really rule out drugs or something else. But I mean, I guess we've got to wait for more details to come out. I don't really want to speculate, but it's bizarre. It's bizarre. Anytime somebody just seemingly dies and they were healthy, or at least they didn't report of any underlying condition. So why not just wait for more details to come out instead of rush to a narrative that supports what you want to be true or what you think is true? Someone said House of Cards coming down. Someone said, Mike, I'm so sick of the left-right division. How can you not be sick of it? Honestly, how can anybody not be tired of the finger pointing? Bob Saget was a huge pedo. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. So therefore, I don't even want to speculate on that. Someone said, I saw the fake Patriots covered their license plates in front of the cops. I don't know where this was at. Please let me know. I mean, we know that this is true. We know that there are Fed operatives that get involved and try to, but I don't see it really happening to the Antifa types. Because like I said, they would be more or less pawns. Whereas, and a lot of that movement is astroturf. Whereas this movement is organic. It's grassroots. So there'd be more of a reason to try to throw this movement off, especially when it's not producing the results that you want. I mean, you've seen they have to stage a lot of this stuff, whether it's feds or just people that want to serve their own purpose or paint a particular narrative, push an agenda. So they'll stage things. That's why you have fake racism, fake hate crimes. That's why you have hoaxes constantly, because they don't have enough. The supply and demand, there's a differential there. The demand does not meet the supply, or the supply does not meet the demand for it, for racism. That's why they have to fake it. So I think it makes sense that they have to fake these kinds of incidents. Or if somebody happens to show up to one it's a real deal, I mean, there you go. It's a bonus for them. But you've seen them staging. They had to stage fake white supremacists at Glenn Youngkin's campaign event. That's a thing that happened. They staged it. Why? Why did they have to do it? If it's so widespread and abundant, why do they have to fake it? That's all I want to know. That's a question I've been asking for years. If it's widespread, why fake it? Jussie Smollett should have never had to fake his own hate crime. He should have been able to just be attacked. He could have just went to any area where he thought Trump supporters were. Like, don't even get me started on this stuff, man. Yeah, Lincoln Project. They fake this stuff because it leads to more division, because people don't naturally look at people they don't know and just hate them for no reason. It comes from somewhere. Let me see. Thank you, Sean, for posting the links. Appreciate you. It's been too long, guys. It's been 2 weeks since I did a live stream, so I feel rusty, to be honest. A little bit rusty. But I wanted to keep the topics shorter today. I wanted less topics just because I'm just getting back into it. And I think you'll see me cover different topics this year than I would have last year, because I'm growing. I'm trying to get wiser, and I'm trying to level up constantly, gaining new perspective, new wisdom, yada, yada, yada. My son isn't the only one hitting developmental milestones. That's another big part of the reason why it's hard to consistently go live and do streams every day. But I still try. And I appreciate all the support that I get. Atomic Tabasco says, glad to be here. Thanks for spreading the truth. Thank you so much for helping to keep the lights on here. Another big thing too, man. I'm so sick and tired of YouTube trying to kneecap my reach. And yes, I'm on other platforms, but they just don't work as well as YouTube. They're just not as good as YouTube. They're just not. That's the truth. This is where I built my audience. This is where I'm at. I have the other platforms. We'll see how those platforms transform over the years, over this year. Hopefully, they'll become more like YouTube, and thus it'll be a more seamless transition for somebody like me to get over there. Any good news out there? I'm sure that there is, but you really got to sift through the rubble to find that diamond. I would love it. I've always told you guys, if there's a topic, if there's a news story that is positive, send it to me. Send it my way. MikeNificent813@gmail.com. I will gladly cover it. Anything to offset the negativity. That's all we really have is negativity. Scotty Dubs, thank you for the super chat. Scotty Dubs says, yo, Mike, I'm moving to Tampa in June from Fulton County. So stoked. Fulton County, Georgia. Come on down. Beautiful state. I appreciate you for that super chat. Anything else? Is there anything else I should cover before I wrap up? Keep it short today, like legitimately short. We're at 34 minutes. This is perfect time to start winding down. I will try to do a stream every day this week. You guys know I appreciate the people that are still here. Every time I get on my YouTube, I see that I have lost subs, right? Some of it is natural attrition. Other it is YouTube is actually siphoning people off. YouTube doesn't even email me back when I ask for the manual review, because I have to ask for manual reviews of all of my live streams. Usually they'll email me back saying, congratulations. After a person reviewed it, it's fine. After all the views have passed, now your channel, your video can be monetized again. It's just, I'm just getting tired of it. But yeah, they don't even email me anymore. DM said, "We missed you, Mike. I'm glad to be back. Honestly." But just don't worry if I'm gone for a little bit of time. It's just that life happens. Have a young son, and that takes up a lot of my time. That's changing me, right? My energy, my passion, the things I devote my time to are changing, along with the world changing. I mean, I can't imagine it's going to become more safe to go out to these events. It's becoming less safe. You mean somebody coming over from Portland to try to mass murder patriots in Florida? I mean, I'll be shocked if we hear anything else about that dude, but I would love to know more about what's going on. We've got a new supporter, Lori. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. God bless you. Someone said, "Mike, I appreciate your perspective." Thank you so much. God bless you. So refreshing. You are keeping it real. That's all I know how to do. I mean, like I was this, what you see on the screen here. Let me share the screen again. This video here, where I was down in South Florida in West Palm, I was out there talking to people, and I asked this lady where she's from, and this guy, David Pacman, posted it and says, "This is toxic," because I asked her where she's from, and she happened to be Asian. Did I notice she was of Asian descent? Sure. That was more interesting than it was important to me, but apparently David Pacman thinks it's extremely important, and he projected his own bigotry by suggesting that I was asking where she's really from. It's just, I'm tired of it, man. This toxic trash is helpful to nobody. And that's why I called him out. You know, it's a lot of these. I'm going to go to, no. Hold on. I got an idea real quick. A lot of the headlines, even coming from conservative media, are just to get your blood boiling. And it's just partisan. It's super partisan. A lot of I don't know, man, partisan stuff. You just get tired of it over time. I want to be solution oriented. So the solution is vote locally. Know who's running. Don't just vote Republican just because. Find out who the Republican is before you do it. Right? You never know who the next Brian Kemp is. You just never know. Anyways, that's about all I got for today. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Please, if you haven't already, give it a thumbs up. Please give it a thumbs up. Share it with somebody. If you're new, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss a live stream. I'll be back with more content at some point this week, hopefully tomorrow. But if not, you guys know, just hit the bell notification. You won't miss my next live stream. All right. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next stream.